Algebra 2, we're in lesson 5.12, the last lesson in this unit, and it's application problems. Now, the learning target says we're going to use the quadratic formula, which is certainly what you may do. We're actually going to streamline that and make it even easier. We're going to use Desmos. And Desmos is a online source that we've used before. It's going to be able to solve these problems incredibly quickly. But let's just read this. A ball is thrown from an initial height of 2 meters with an initial upward velocity of 13 meters per second. The ball's height after t seconds is given here. I've got good news. You'll never have to write that equation. You're always going to be given that. Now, one little thing, typing this into Desmos, instead of having h, let's call that y. So y is going to be your height. And instead of having t, how about we just type in an x? So our x is going to be time, and our y is going to be height. By the way, this is how we'd have to type this in if we were actually doing this with a graphing calculator also. For part A, and by the way, we're going to have to round to the nearest hundredth, we'd like to find all the times, find all the x values where the height is 7. You could let y equal 7, let the height equal 7, and solve with the quadratic formula, and that would be great. But let's instead go to Desmos and see where we're going there. So if we just very quickly type in Desmos, it says start graphing. And like I said, we're going to type in y equals 2 plus 13x. And then we're going to say minus 5x. Now the square, you might remember we did this before. You have to use the caret button. So I'm going to go shift 6. And then it bumps it up high as a power. Then you hit a 2. And you're good to go. So this would be the height function. Y is the height, x is the time. However, I'm going to click down below. The height is 7 meters. We'd like to know when the height is 7. So I'm going to type y equals 7. And you can see immediately this is graphed out. Now, there will be some times where you won't see the intersections like I'm clicking right here. I've just clicked the 2 dots where the parabola, this red parabola, crosses the line. You might have to hit the zoom out to get some assistance. But you can see it's 0.469, that would be 0.47 seconds, and 2.13. So we can go back here and say 0.47 seconds and 2.13 seconds. We have to go, of course, to that nearest hundredth. So from here, just looking at where we had just been, you can get your answer so incredibly fast. It's great. For part B, however, as we just take a look here, how long after the ball is thrown does it hit the ground? You're going to be asked that a lot. When it hits the ground, the height is 0. That is, y is 0. And of course, we've got this equation that we had just typed in, y equals 2 plus 13x minus 5x squared. If we go back to Desmos, you can see that y equaling 0 is being on the x-axis. Now, I'm going to click right here on the x-axis. I could also click over here, but look, this point right to the left of the origin, you don't want to use that. That's negative time. That would be negative 0.15 seconds. That doesn't make sense in this real-life situation. You're not going to say that the ball was on the ground at negative 0.15 seconds. But you do know that the ball would hit the ground then at 2.75. We can look at the 4 here. Look at the number to the right. It's bigger than 5, so we bump that up to 2.75 seconds, and we are done. So that's the good news about this very last section. Desmos makes it very, very quick.